Brilliant ideas pop up in university labs all the time. But what happens when they just get stuck there? Well, today we're digging into a national strategy that's all about blasting those ideas out of the lab and into the real world. Let's dive in.
And really, this is the million-dollar question for any country that wants to innovate, right? It's not just about funding amazing research. You've got to build a solid bridge from that lab bench straight to the marketplace. So, how do you actually do that? Well, there's a name for the biggest hurdle here. Innovators call it the Valley of Death. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this treacherous gap between a proven concept and an actual product. This is where the funding just disappears, industry gets cold feet, and way too many great ideas, well, they just never make it out. So to tackle this head-on, Malaysia is building its own bridge, and it's called URIIS 2026. Now that stands for the University Research and Innovation Investment Summit, but don't let the name fool you. This is way more than just a conference. Think of it as a carefully planned strategy, a guide really, to get the best innovations safely across that dangerous valley.
And yeah, this isn't just some one-off event. URIS 2026 is a whole pathway. It's a structured journey designed to take an idea all the way to getting investment. So let's walk through how it works. Okay, so the whole thing is broken down into 4 key phases. First, it all kicks off with these intensive pre-summit workshops to get the ideas polished and ready. From there, it moves into direct industry negotiations, to find the right partners. All of that builds up to the main URIS summit itself. But, and this is key, it doesn't stop there. The final crucial step is post-summit tracking, which is all about making sure these ideas actually go on to make a real impact. So let's dig into that pre-summit phase, because it's super important. It is all about preparation. This is where researchers learn to be more than just brilliant scientists. They're trained to become effective entrepreneurs. We're talking dialogues with industry leaders, intense boot camps, all designed to help them shape their research into something an investor would actually want to fund. And you can really get a sense of the scope of this prep work here. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got agendas for these super high-level talks on deep tech stuff like semiconductors, and then on the other, you see the schedule for a really hands-on boot camp, focusing on the nitty-gritty like perfecting your pitch and building a business model. It's a two-pronged attack. You have to build the tech, but you also have to build the business case around it. Okay, but to make a national plan like this actually work, you can't have every university trying to do everything at once. That'd be chaos. The whole strategy here is about focus. It's about figuring out who's good at what and leveraging those specific strengths. And this chart, this is pretty much the strategic heart of the entire plan. It's a national niche area map. So instead of having all the universities competing with each other on the same things, they're assigned specific areas of expertise. You can see right here who's leading the charge in semiconductors, who owns the ag tech space, and who's driving fintech. This approach stops people from wasting resources and creates this coordinated national powerhouse where every player is a genuine expert in their lane. So, to see how this all works in the real world, let's zoom in and look at a specific example. University Putra Malaysia, or UPM for short. All right, so if you look at that national map, UPM is tapped as a leader in a few key areas. But their main focus? That's ag tech and food biotech, which, by the way, fits their history perfectly. And that strategic focus is what decides exactly which projects they're going to bring to the big summit. So the big question is, how does a high-level strategy like this actually translate into real projects on the ground? Let's shine a spotlight on what UPM is actually bringing to the table. Sticking to their specialty, UPM has picked out 5 projects with some serious potential. And look, these aren't just random ideas pulled out of a hat. They've been strategically chosen to line up with the university's expertise and, importantly, with what the industry actually needs. Let's take a closer look at a couple of them. Okay, first up, we've got a project called Jaminan Agromakanan. Now, this is about so much more than just a new kind of rice. We're talking about national food security here. The researchers have actually developed high-yield varieties that can handle the growing pressures of climate change. Things like drought and crazy high temperatures. The potential impact of this, it's just huge. Then there's Aquaculture Mapan. This one's all about making shrimp farming better, or aquaculture to be specific. Basically, it's about making our seafood farming more efficient and a lot more sustainable. This tackles another really critical piece of that food security puzzle, and at the same time, it helps build a stronger, more resilient industry. And then you have Technology Halal and Kabule Kasanan.
This one is targeting a massive global market. It's a unified piece of tech for halal traceability. I mean, think about it. In an industry that absolutely runs on trust and verification, a smooth tech solution like this one, that's a huge competitive advantage.
So, after all those months of prep work, of selecting just the right projects, everything comes to a head at the main event. This is where all that hard work is supposed to pay off. The summit itself is really the climax of this whole journey. And let me be clear, this is not your typical academic conference. The focus is 100% on results. We're talking about signing deals, showcasing tech that's ready to go, and locking in those final investment commitments. And really, that gets to the very heart of what URI's 2026 is all about. The ultimate goal is a tangible return on investment. Success here isn't measured by how many papers get published in journals. No, it's measured by how many of these innovations actually get off the ground and make a real economic impact. And they're not just hoping for success, they're going to measure it with very specific KPIs. That post-summit tracking phase will be all about the hard numbers. How much investment was actually secured, how many new projects were launched, how many technologies made it all the way to commercialization, how many official partnerships were signed. These are the metrics that will tell the real story. So when you boil it all down, URIS 2026 is so much more than just a summit. It's a strategic pipeline built to turn great ideas into real-world impact. So the real question isn't if it's going to work, but which one of these carefully nurtured innovations, whether it's the climate-resilient crops or the new fintech, is going to be the one that grows into a truly world-changing industry.